Hi everybody, Brian from Rebel Traders here. It is the weekend, Saturday, November the 11th. Of course, this weekend we are honoring our veterans both north and south of the border. So again, thank you for your service and your sacrifice for our countries. Very much appreciated. So let's take a look at what happened last week in the markets, and then we'll take a look ahead and see what we got coming down the pipe this week. There's been lots of interesting things going on, so let's get down to it. Okay, and so always we start by looking at what happened last week. Things really got interesting Thursday and Friday. Thursday we had a 30-year Treasury auction. It went very poorly, and the markets really sold off hard on that at 1 o'clock. There wasn't a lot of demand for the Treasury, so that forced rates higher. That was sort of the first gut punch to the market. And then at 2 p.m., Powell was speaking on a panel, and he made some very hawkish comments, thinking that the inflation fight wasn't over and they may have to raise rates some more. So that was the second gut punch to the market, really sold off hard on Thursday. But wait, Friday came along, yields dropped a little bit back from where they were finished out on Thursday. And the bulls came back in, the buying brigade came back in, buying that dip and taking back most, if not all, of the losses that we saw on Thursday. So it was a crazy way to go out on the week. The technology and semiconductors really leading the way on the charge as we ended the week. You can see there most of the indexes ended up pretty solidly. Q's the best, and the small caps IWM actually finished down 3% on the week. So small caps really struggling. Again, usually the small caps and energy perform poorly when there's a recession, and it's still kind of telling you there may be a recession. That's what the markets are saying. So you can see areas of strength and weakness here. Again, technology, biggest gainer on the week by far. Energy, the biggest loser. Again, energy use is lower in a recession, so it seems like that's where we're going right now. 2-year, you can see here we did pop up again above that magic sort of 5% level. We've been kind of hovering below it, and now we're up above, which kind of is indicating that maybe the bond market's pricing in another rate hike. The 10-year, again, up a little bit, but not as much. But of course, as the treasuries go, so does the dollar. So as we saw the treasury yields go up, the dollar strengthened as well. And Bitcoin, boom, notably, almost up almost 10% on the week. That's a pretty incredible move for Bitcoin. So another risk-on trade there. So that was kind of the week in review, and it was lots of fun. Okay, so before we start looking at some charts, as always, I'd like to do a quick plug for my couple books on Amazon. This one, Profiting as an Active Trader. The other one, called How to Swing Trade. Basically, rules, strategies, and the routines of an active stock and option trader. So there's a little bit of option stuff in there on this one, so if you want to check that out. And just a quick mention, I do have another book coming out, and it is exclusively on options, so watch for that in the coming weeks. I'll be mentioning that. So let's start looking at some charts here. For starters, as always, we started with the treasuries, and you can see here we've been sort of banging our head on this 5% level, and today, or this week, we kind of popped our head above it again. And maybe that's the bond market telling us that we are in for some more rate hikes coming down the pipe here. And certainly the Fed Powell left that door wide open in his comments on Thursday. And the 10-year, again, kind of popping back up here after this big sell-off last week. Again, maybe the Treasury, or at least this could partly be the lack of demand for Treasuries, so yields having to go up on the longer end. The Dow transports, a bit of an inside day on Friday. You can see it had a big drop on the Thursday. We came back up and tried to recapture most of those losses, but didn't manage quite to do it. On the week, bit of a bull flag there, or at least even though we did finish down on the week overall, we certainly didn't test these prior lows from prior weeks. So we could be getting ready to break out of this downtrend here. Again, we're into November. This is typically a good month for stocks. And you can see here on Friday we had the big loss, and then on the Dow we made it all back Friday, and that looks like a breakout to me. On the daily chart, let's see what it looks like on a weekly. Certainly it does look fairly positive for a move higher, and this 34,500 is certainly going to be an area where we've had some resistance here before. So we'll see what happens. Volume was not great last week. You can see here after this big down week, volume's been a little bit light, but we are coming up off the bottom of those stochastics. So again, we may just be a slow, painful grind higher. This is the index that really speaks volumes. Qs really broke out. I mean, they didn't sell off much, and then when the buying brigade came back in Friday, they came in with guns blazing, and you can see there this 380 level from back here is probably going to be an area where we may have some issues, but if it gets through there, we could push all the way up to that 385 all-time high. And on the weekly, you can see here we are right into an area of prior resistance. So we'll see how the stock market manages that. SPY, sort of same comment, big sell-off for Thursday, and then really storming higher on Friday. And on the weekly, looking pretty good here. We are sort of breaking out from a sort of minor level of resistance, and this 450 is going to be an area where you should be watching next week. And the IWM just popped up here, couldn't get through this sort of level of this was sort of prior support, and then broke down here, and then it became resistance. So again, we had the trouble getting up through this 175 level. Really sold off hard Thursday, and bit of an inside day Friday on the, but not looking very healthy. On the week, you can see we were down quite a bit. So the only index that was actually down on the week. And the VIX popped up a little bit Thursday, and as you would expect, dropped on Friday with market strength. The dollar coming up here again, finishing up on the week. Again, as treasuries go, so does the strength in the dollar. And Bitcoin. Bitcoin has pulled back a little bit from when I looked at it yesterday. It's now under $37,000, but still a pretty significant move here up on the week. Let's take a look at a weekly chart quickly. You can see here breaking out through this 35,000 level. We could be heading up here. 40,000 is probably going to be sort of a significant area. It's not really a level of, it's kind of in the area of support and resistance, but it's certainly a sort of a milestone dollar number that people will be watching next week for a break higher. Quick look at some stocks I'm watching next week. You can see here Apple. This was an area where I thought there was going to be some prior resistance. From prior resistance was going to be resistance again. We did sort of hesitate there, but then again breaking out. Apple's not one I really understand why it's continued to break out. Earnings were lackluster. Fourth quarter of shrinking earnings. I don't know if something else is coming down the pipe here. Some of their sales in China. China's struggling economy. So and Huawei just came out, I think, with some new stuff. So lots of competition there for the smartphone market. So again, but price is king, and this 190 level, it looks like an area where if we continue to get strength in the tech sector, Apple's going to do well. It's really overbought here. I would say on the stochastics, we tried to roll over a little bit here, like we did here and here, but again, this thing just hooked back up again. So Apple looking like it could push to 190 there next week, but this now has become an area of support. This 183 level sort of. AMD, another stock that really broke out last week. You could see there, even on the Thursday we had a big down day. It really didn't pull back that much. That's a great indicator for you people that if you have a big down market and you've got some stocks that are just strong and they just hold up even in a real strong selling period, then they're the ones that are going to rip higher. when the market comes back, and that's what we saw on Friday. AMD coming up and almost got to that 120 level. 120 is going to be another area where we just watch where if it can break through. Volume was great on AMD. Again, stochastics pretty overbought here, but semiconductors and technology really doing well. Amazon, we're pretty close to testing this high here, this 45 level. Amazon's been strong too. Volume a little bit on the light side, but and again pretty overbought here. Doesn't mean we can't go higher, but stochastics pretty extended. Disney is one I've sold some calls, sold some 91 calls. Didn't trade particularly well on Friday. Gapped up on Thursday on that on the earnings news, and then Friday when the market was strong, Disney went the other direction. So that's why I chose to short the 91 calls, and still short them. And I'm thinking that top has been put in. And again, this stochastics look like they're rolling over. So does RSI. So we're keeping an eye on that early next week. But I think we may even come back and fill this gap here at 86. I still think the story on Disney is a little bit of a show me story. Meta, look at this, broke out. There's your prior level of resistance back here and here. And Meta breaking out here. Monster day on Friday. You would like to see more volume on a big breakout like that. Again, really overbought, but again, doesn't mean we can't go higher. Nvidia really came up off here nicely, and yeah, just I'm long some Nvidia, just in some long-term account, and this thing looks like it could be heading back to 500. Volume kind of lackluster again, not if you like to see big volume spikes on breakouts, but that didn't what you see. But again, we can just grind higher slowly. Oracle, again, nice move on Oracle. Another sort of an AI play. Not a lot of volume on Oracle, not just generally speaking, not like some of these other stocks. A little bit harder to play the options on it. QCOM, another stock breaking out here. All these technology, semiconductor stocks are breaking out here. Tesla really struggling, got some downgrades. The earnings, that was that earnings gap, really struggling here. So we're thinking it's probably going to, come back down, retest this 200 level, maybe before the end of the year. Volume was pretty heavy to the downside on Thursday and pretty strong to the upside on Friday. But Tesla's one of those stocks that just, it gets going during the day and it just keeps going one direction. And that's kind of the way Tesla trades. There's a lot of option activity in Tesla, a lot of retail traders trading Tesla. On the week doesn't look that great. And this, I just thought I'd throw this chart up. This is kind of like my sector of the week feature. You can see here technology was the big gainer on the week, and you can see here we had a beautiful day or beautiful week last week, and the week before, and then last week. Really just, we're right at a breakout level here, if not breaking out already, because we did close higher than these prior closes and opens. So yeah, by some definition, it is we are breaking out here, so pretty strong. The only thing you can say here, the volume on this breakout was a little bit light. So again, we are into November, one of the best seasons of the month, if you go back historically, if you believe that. It's a good month, and we could be getting into this Santa Claus rally. So looking for possibly more upside here, particularly in technology. So that's it. All right, everybody, let's just wrap things up here. There's your levels on the Dow, Q-SPY, and IWM with areas I've seen as support and resistance for this week. For economic data, we do have some interesting stuff coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday. CPI data out before the market open on Tuesday, and the PPI data on Wednesday. So this will give us another read on how the inflation fight is going. So these will be likely market moving numbers, so watch out for those. And then, of course, usual jobless claims on Thursday. So good thing is the job market does seem to be cooling off a little bit here, which of course is something the Fed wants to see in their inflation fight. As far as earnings go, got a lot of interesting stuff coming up this week. Lots of retailers, Home Depot, Target will be interesting, TJ Maxx, few Chinese stocks, and then technology, big technology companies, Cisco and AMAT reporting Wednesday and Thursday. Walmart's been doing really well. Their Chinese stock Friday or Thursday morning, and then Foot Locker, more retailers reporting on. So it'll be interesting to see, get another read on the consumer and what some of these companies are seeing. So that's it, everybody. Again, big shout out to our veterans, and appreciate your service and sacrifice. So 8 o'clock on Monday morning, that's when we'll be starting our live pre-market show on YouTube. You can join us there. And 9:30, of course, trading the market open with our members. So enjoy the rest of your weekend, and hopefully we'll see you Monday morning. Bye for now.